want to communicate with more impact and authority in English.
Yeah.
What if some maybe unexpected strategies could help you not just be understood, but actually resonate?
Welcome to a different kind of deep dive. Today we're looking at something, well, maybe a bit surprising for advanced English language learners.
Right.
We're exploring how principles from Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power, that book that stirs up quite a bit of debate.
Oh, yeah. Definitely raises eyebrows.
Can actually offer some really useful ways to look at your C1 English journey.
Okay, the 48 Laws of Power. It sounds a bit, Machiavellian, doesn't it?
It can.
But hang on, we're absolutely not interested in manipulation or, anything sneaky.
No, not at all.
Our focus is purely on reframing these laws as tools for, let's say, linguistic self-empowerment. Think of it more like gaining a strategic edge in how you use English.
Precisely. And as a C1 learner, you've already climbed some pretty high linguistic mountains, right? You can handle complex text, you express yourself fluently.
Yeah, the basics are covered.
But now you face new challenges. Those subtle nuances, crafting really sophisticated communication, understanding cultural stuff, building that solid confidence, and keeping the growth going.
Right, avoiding the plateau.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this deep dive offers a fresh angle on tackling those things.
So our mission today is to take 12 of Greene's laws, adapt them, and turn them into concrete, actionable strategies just for C1 English mastery. The aim is to empower you through language, give you insights to communicate more effectively, more confidently, and, more intentionally. Okay, ready to unpack the first one.
Let's do it. We'll start with our adaptation of Never Outshine the Master. We've kind of reimagined this for C1 learners as learn from the masters, then find your voice.
Okay. The original law, it's basically a warning, right? Don't make your boss feel insecure.
Yeah, something like that.
But for us, it's about looking around. The English-speaking world is full of masterful communicators, great teachers, amazing speakers, writers.
Absolutely. Loads of them.
So the idea is to become a really keen observer. Absorb their techniques, their phrasing, how they choose their words.
But it's not just about copying. That's the key thing. These masters, they show you what's possible. The real goal for a C1 learner is to take all that in, synthesize it, and then weave it into your own authentic English voice.
Right. It's integration, not imitation.
Yeah, like notice how they handled interruptions gracefully, or how they shift their argument when new info comes up, or even how they build rapport, maybe shifting formality, using inclusive language. It's about learning the principles underneath.
Exactly. So practically speaking, maybe actively listen to TED Talks or detailed interviews. Don't just get the gist. Look at how they structure things, the rhythm, the vocabulary they use for emphasis.
Good point.
And read widely, different genres, different styles. Notice how writers build sentences, use transitions, create a tone, and importantly, try things out yourself. New words, new structures, maybe in lower stakes situations first, like notes or talking with a language partner.
And getting feedback is super important here. Ask people you trust, mentors, language partners, how it sounds. Is it smooth, or does it feel, forced? Are you coming across as knowledgeable, or maybe like you're trying a bit too hard?
Yeah, that's a fine line. We have a great example, Priya, from India, prepping for business school interviews. She didn't just read CEO speeches. She watched videos, analyzed their delivery, the pauses, the intonation, even their posture.
Ah, interesting.
She took those elements and blended them with her own analytical style. The feedback. People said she was composed yet insightful. She learned from masters, but kept her own voice.
That's a fantastic illustration. Okay, let's move to Law 4. Always say less than necessary. We've reframed this as master conciseness and impactful language.
Right. The original law basically says talking too much can weaken your position. For C1 learners, you've got the words, you've got the grammar.
You often have a lot to say.
Exactly. So the challenge becomes expressing complex thoughts clearly but also concisely, valuing precision, cutting out fluff, making every word count. Think about the information density of your sentences.
It's fascinating at this level, isn't it? Realizing the power in holding back a little, linguistically speaking. Can you say it's something nuanced, but elegantly and efficiently?
Yeah, it's not about being abrupt.
No, it's deliberate. Choosing words carefully, structuring thoughts for impact. Brevity works best for, say, core arguments, key insights, or making something really memorable.
Absolutely. Some techniques. Try summarizing complex stuff, like take a long article and boil it down to the essence in a couple of sentences.
Good exercise.
And when writing, edit ruthlessly. Cut redundant phrases, unnecessary words. Ask yourself, can I say this more directly? And before speaking, maybe just take a tiny pause, organize your thoughts. It helps prevent rambling. Also, actively learn powerful synonyms, strong verbs, precise nouns. They often pack more punch than weaker constructions.
Yeah, definitely. We have a story about Kenji, a Japanese diplomat. Initially, he felt he had to give tons of background detail in discussions.
Over-explaining, maybe?
A bit, yeah, to ensure understanding. But he started focusing on this principle, preparing concise points using strong verbs, precise nouns. So instead of the situation was characterized by a lack of movement forward, he'd say the situation stagnated.
Much tighter.
Exactly. His points became shorter, punchier, and actually got more attention.
That really shows the power of less is more. Okay, Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Adapted for C1 learners. Cultivate a reputation for linguistic reliability and thoughtfulness.
The original law is all about how crucial reputation is for influence. In our context, your C1 English reputation is about being seen as reliable, accurate, and thoughtful in how you communicate.
It builds trust.
Right. It makes people value what you say. It's like your professional linguistic brand, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Being known for using English carefully. So practical steps. Always double check your written stuff, emails, documents, everything. Use spell check, sure, but also develop your own proofreading eye. Reading aloud helps.
Oh, definitely. Catches things you miss.
Be really aware of tone, too. What you intend as helpful could sound critical if phrased poorly. And if you hit an unfamiliar word, look it up. Don't just guess. Being a good listener also adds to that thoughtful reputation.
Totally. We have an example. Sophia, a translator from Argentina. She built this amazing reputation, not just because her translations were accurate, but she was meticulous with research, always met deadlines, and communicated proactively about any potential issues.
So, reliability.
Total reliability and thoughtfulness in her English communication. She was never short of work.
That consistency is gold. Okay, let's shift to Law 6. Court attention at all costs, our adaptation. Make your English contributions engaging and memorable.
The original law is a bit provocative. Being noticed, even negatively, is better than being ignored. But for C1 learners, we twist that. It's about making your English usage positively engaging and memorable.
Through quality, not just noise.
Exactly. Using vivid language, good examples, confident delivery, making sure your ideas don't just land, but stick with people in a good way. How do you craft your message so it really resonates?
Right. Some ways to do that. Develop your storytelling skills in English. People connect with stories. They remember them.
Sure.
Use rhetorical questions, maybe, metaphors and analogies to make complex ideas clearer. Vary your sentence structure and vocabulary to keep things interesting. And sometimes a bit of appropriate brief humor or a relevant anecdote can really add warmth.
Yeah, absolutely. There's David, a C1 tour guide in South Africa. He didn't just list facts. He wove these captivating stories, used really expressive language.
Brought it to life.
Totally. He used humor, asked thought-provoking questions in English. His tours were constantly rated unforgettable, and people specifically mentioned his engaging communication.
That shows the impact. Okay, Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. We've adapted this to demonstrate your English prowess, don't just assert it.
Green's point is show, don't just tell. For C1 learners, this is about letting your actual communication do the talking. Your clear reports, your insightful comments and discussions, your smooth presentations, let those be the proof of your English skills.
Rather than saying, I'm C1 or getting defensive about mistakes.
Exactly. It's about letting your output speak for itself. So practically, look for chances to use English in real situations. Volunteer for that presentation, join the discussion, draft that email.
Put it into practice.
Prepare thoroughly when your English will be visible. If misunderstandings happen, sort them out calmly with clear communication. Don't get dragged into arguing about your language level. Consistent quality over time builds real credibility.
Makes sense.
We saw this with Maria, a software engineer from Brazil. She was initially a bit hesitant in daily stand-ups with her international team. Instead of highlighting her C1 level, she just focused on giving clear, concise updates and asking smart questions in English. Her actions quickly showed her competence, and she earned everyone's respect.
Actions speak louder than words, quite literally here. Okay, Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, or adaptation. Frame your language learning needs as mutually beneficial.
The original law is about framing requests around what's in it for the other person. For C1 learners needing help practice, clarification the idea is to frame it so it offers value. or at least isn't a big burden.
It makes sense. People are busy.
Right. They're more likely to help if they see a benefit or if the ask is specific and easy.
So some tips. Maybe suggest a language exchange. You help them with your language, they help with English.
Classic win-win.
Be specific, not just help me improve, but could you look at this paragraph? Is the tone right for this email?
Much easier to say yes to that.
Show genuine interest in them too, their language journey, their culture, whatever. And always show sincere appreciation.
Absolutely. We have Ahmed, an Egyptian C1 learner. He wanted more speaking practice with native speakers. Instead of just asking people, he joined a photography club he knew had English speakers.
Smart.
He offered to share his photography knowledge. This created a natural context for conversations, and his English benefited hugely.
That's a great example of mutual benefit. Okay, Law 20, do not commit to anyone. Reframed as, maintain flexibility in your learning resources and methods.
Green's idea is about keeping your options open. For C1 English learners, this means don't get stuck on just one textbook, one teacher, one app, one technique.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Reaching C1 and beyond often needs a mix of things. Be open to new resources and strategies as your needs change. What worked for B2 might not be the best for C1 nuances.
That's a really important point. Things change. So practically, regularly check out new stuff, podcasts, YouTube channels, websites, courses.
Keep exploring.
Experiment with different ways to learn vocab, practice grammar, improve fluency. If you feel stuck with one method, switch it up or add something else. And get input from different places, different teachers, speakers with different accents, other advanced learners.
Variety is key. Lena, a German marketing professional, relied heavily on a C1 course. But she felt her speaking wasn't improving fast enough.
Hit a plateau.
Kind of. So she didn't ditch the course, but she added an English improv group and started using a language exchange app for casual chats. That flexibility really boosted her fluency and confidence.
Adaptability makes a difference. Now, Law 25. Recreate yourself. For C1 learners, actively shape your English-speaking persona.
The original law is about forging a new identity. For a C1 learner, this is more about consciously thinking, what qualities do I want my English communication to convey?
Like, how do I want to come across?
Exactly. Knowledgeable, witty, empathetic, authoritative. At C1, you have the language tools to actively shape this persona through your word choices, your tone, even body language when you speak English.
It's about being intentional. So, some tips. Find role models whose English style you admire. Analyze why it works.
Deconstruct it a bit.
Practice different tones, different registers, formal presentation versus casual chat. Maybe record yourself speaking English. Does it match the persona you want?
Ooh, recording yourself can be revealing.
And consciously choose vocabulary that reflects the sophistication or nuance you're aiming for.
Yeah. Javier, an architect from Spain, wanted to be a leading voice in sustainable architecture. He consciously worked on an English style that was authoritative but also approachable.
Finding that balance.
They practiced explaining complex ideas precisely, used the right technical terms, and really let his passion show. He effectively recreated himself as this compelling international voice in his field.
That's powerful. Okay, Law 29. Plan all the way to the end or adaptation. Set clear long-term C1 plus goals and strategize accordingly.
Green stresses planning with the end goal in mind. For C1 learners, it's not just about studying randomly. Define your ultimate English goals. Is it giving that keynote, publishing in English, nailing an international negotiation?
Knowing where you're headed.
Once you know that end, you can work backward. Create a strategic, focused learning plan to get there.
Makes sense, like having a roadmap. Practical advice. Use SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound.
Good framework.
Break big goals into smaller steps. Check your progress regularly, adjust if needed, and try to anticipate challenges, plateaus, motivation dips, and think about how you'll handle them.
Proactive planning. Fatima, a researcher from Pakistan, aimed to present at a big international conference in English. That was her end.
Ambitious goal.
Very. She planned meticulously, practiced constantly, anticipated tough questions, worked on pronouncing technical terms perfectly, even did mock Q&A sessions. That thorough planning was key to her successful presentation.
That preparation paid off. Okay, Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. Reframed for C1. Connect with others through shared interests and aspirations in English.
The original law is about appealing to desires. For C1 learners, this isn't deception. It's about using your English skills to find common ground, build rapport by talking about shared experiences, interests, Hopes.
Connecting on a human level.
Right. Use your language to tap into topics, stories, ideas that resonate with people's values.
So how to do that? Listen actively to find out what others care about, then steer the conversation that way. Use storytelling to evoke emotion or shared understanding.
Stories are powerful.
Frame ideas to highlight positive outcomes and just show genuine empathy.
Yeah. Chloe, a French C1 learner working for an NGO, needed funding. Instead of just stats, she used her English to tell these powerful stories about the people who'd benefit, painting a picture of their hopes for the future.
Appealing to that desire for positive change.
Exactly. Connecting emotionally, appealing to that shared fantasy of a better outcome was crucial for getting the funding.
That emotional connection matters. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. Adapted as project confidence and own your C1 English skills.
Green suggests self-belief influences perception. For C1 learners, it means carry yourself with the confidence your skills deserve. Don't over-apologize for your accent or minor slips.
Owe it.
Speak clearly with conviction, but still be open to feedback. Your self-assurance affects how people interact with you and value what you say.
It's about projecting that competence you have. Tips: good posture, natural eye contact when speaking English, speak clearly, moderately paced, don't rush or mumble.
Basic confidence signals.
Focus on what you can do with English, not the tiny imperfections. If you make a mistake, correct it calmly, move on, don't dwell on it.
Yes. Miguel, an engineer from Mexico, had strong C1 English, but was hesitant in meetings. He started consciously focusing on projecting self-belief, kind of acting like a king in his area of expertise.
How did that work out?
He presented ideas with more conviction, and his colleagues started taking his contributions more seriously, showing more respect.
That inner shift made an external difference. Okay, finally, Law 48. Assume formlessness for C1 learners. Be adaptable and versatile in your English usage.
The original law is about being fluid, like water. English is so diverse. Different cultures, professions, social settings use it differently. Real C1 plus mastery means being able to adapt your style, your register, formal, informal, even your accent slightly, to fit the situation and audience.
Being a linguistic chameleon.
Exactly. Avoid being too rigid. So practically, expose yourself to all sorts of English. Formal lectures, casual podcasts, business meetings, different movie genres, books from different places.
Broaden your input.
Practice code switching, consciously changing your formality, vocab, set, and structure between contexts. Watch how skilled speakers adapt. Learn from them. And be ready to pick up new jargon if you enter a new field or group.
Stay flexible.
Anja, a Polish diplomat, was amazing at this, a master of formlessness. She could swish seamlessly from super formal UN debate English to relaxed networking English to a clear, patient style explaining things to non-native speakers.
Incredible versatility.
Made her exceptionally effective anywhere.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, it seems pretty clear that these adapted laws, even from maybe an unusual source, offer a really powerful way to think strategically about C1 English.
Yeah, it's about moving beyond just fluency towards using English with real impact, confidence, and that versatility we just talked about.
And it's crucial, like we said at the start, the goal here is self-empowerment through language. It's about connecting better, achieving your goals, definitely not about manipulation.
Absolutely. Understanding these dynamics just helps you navigate communication more effectively.
So here's a final thought for you, the listener. Which one of these 12 adapted laws really clicked with you? Which one feels most relevant to where you are right now in your English journey and what you want to achieve? How could you start consciously applying just that one principle, starting today, to really elevate your C1 English and make your voice heard more effectively wherever you are?